Well, hi, howdy. It doesn't make me want to die outside today, so welcome to the New Year season of Orthodox Review. We're gonna go over some things today that I hope will help people understand the necessity for certain books and also just how much goes into putting together a service. So I'm gonna scratch some itchy spots where the cat was trying to eat me, and then we're gonna roll the intro, swat a couple of mosquitoes, and get right into it. Welcome back to Orthodox Review, the most uneducated educational program here on the internet today. I am your host, the guy with 1.5 thumbs, Raphael, and I'm so very, very, very thankful that you have decided to join us today. As stated in the intro, mosquitoes are still sort of a thing right now, so please excuse me while I do some swatting, but let's face facts. It's beautiful outside, the lighting's great. I am not really that depressed right now. So let's get into this. First and foremost, thank you, huge thank you to all our Patreon subscribers. You are keeping this thing alive. I thank God for you. And in case you hadn't noticed, the last few episodes, I've been doing a member roll at the end of the episode. So if you want to see your name on screen and get that little endorphin rush, for as little as $1 a month, you too can help keep this show alive. And I'm going to tell you right now, once we get to a certain number, I'm turning off ads. I think everyone deserves that. I think the show would be better for it. So yeah, if we can get up to like, say like $500 a month total, I can just turn off ads and I will make the entire channel ad-free, first episode up till now. So hey, if you want to be a part of that, yeah, for as little as $1 a month. I know times are tough, but you know, what's that, like a tenth of a cup of coffee? So anyway, also a huge shout out to everyone that's been reaching out over the past few weeks and offering their support. I know it's been a tough season, being stuck inside all summer because of just reasons, but we're over that now. It's September 1st. It's a new year if you're on the new calendar. Still got two weeks if you're on the old calendar, but I'm on the new calendar, so cope and seethe. Anyway, okay, that's enough babbling. Links below for pertinent stuff, but let's go into this. Orthodoxy 201, the Octoechos, which when I put it on paper, it's like, that doesn't seem like a whole lot, but really it is. So one of the reasons I wanted to do this episode is because, A, we did a video last summer on service variables in the Orthodoxy 101 series, and it kind of skimmed the surface. Here we're going to go a little deeper into what actually goes into a service, and most of what goes into a service, outside of things from like say the Festal Minyan, or maybe a specific service for a specific saint or commemoration, is going to come out of the Octoechos, okay? Currently, there's only maybe 2 or 3 on the market that are available to the public, which this is a fairly new thing in the English language especially. We have some ring-bound ones from the Russian Church. We've got that nice green cover one from Church of the Nativity, which is the old ritualist, Octoechos. And we have the goat, thus far, from Holy Transfiguration Monastery, HTM, the Boston monks. And then we have the God willing forthcoming one from Damascene Press, which is the, we talked about this in the last video. It's Isaac Lambertson's translation. And we'll get into a little bit of why that one in particular is important, maybe a little later, not the least of which it'll be a free-to-use translation publicly, which, you know, the Octoechos is one of the most expensive books in anyone's liturgical library. Excuse me, there was a bug flew into my eyebrow. So we're going to go into why that is, what all is in there, and why your anthologian is probably a lot more useful and spiritually beneficial than you think. So I did a breakdown of what's in the Octoechos, and we're going to go through that a little bit. We're going to talk about just how massive that is. Okay, so Octoechos meaning 8 tones. In the Orthodox Church, we have 8 liturgical tones. I mean, in theory, we got so many tones all over the place. There's different modes of tones. But at its core, you have, the 4 and then the 4, the Pelagial, which we call, 5 through 8. So you have these 8 tones, and every week you're in a different tone. And it's an 8-week cycle. And so for every tone, you have hymns in that tone. And usually when someone says a hymn, you're thinking, Troparian and Kentuckian. Well, yeah, those, but you have to realize there are entire chunks of services in that tone that are specific to every day of the week. So let's use Sunday as a start. The beginning of our liturgical week starts at Vespers on Saturday night. So at Vespers, you start, you have your Troparian, your Kentuckian, your Theotokyan, right? Those are the ones that stick out most to us because those are repeated throughout the week because of them being in that tone. But the first set of hymns we have are the Stichira, which those are the ones that are chanted in between. You have Psalm 120 and 142, 45, and like all, and so the reader will read a verse, and then there's a hymn, and the reader reads a verse, and there's a hymn, and so you have those hymns for the tone, and then maybe even more out of the Menaian or something, you have something specific to a feast, so you have that for every day of the week. That means 7. So in tone 1 for Vespers, you have 7 set of Stichira. Okay, so right off the bat, like that's. Again, we're 2,000 years old. We've got a lot of hymns. Okay, after that, you have hymns to the Theotokos. You have what's called a Dematicon, which is a singular hymn in the Vesper service. And the reason it's called a Dematicon is because it's dogmatic in nature. It's a hymn that expresses some teaching of the church. You got to remember, we learn primarily from the services. Like, if you were never to go to a catechism class ever, and you were just embracing the liturgical life of the church, you would learn the faith just by paying attention. I mean, sure, we're awed by the beauty because we're singing to God, but if we pay attention to what's being sung, and these days there's a lot of printouts flying around, you'll learn the faith. After the Dogmaticon, you have the Apostica Stichira. That's that point at Vespers where, so the Lord is King, he is robed in majesty, right? Okay, so we had that earlier in the Prokimadon. And so later on you hear those verses again, and then so the reader is reading it verse by verse, and you're having hymns in between. That's what that is. That's the Apostica Stichira. And then so those are the movable bits for just the Vespers portion of what could be vigil, or if it's broken up, either way. Then for the midnight service, okay, you have a canon, which is usually the canon of the Matin service, okay? Again, well, the canon, usually it's the same one all week. Usually. But then again, we have canons for how many saints? Like, all of them? So, countless canons. And then moving into the Matin service, okay, so you first have variable portions which are called poetic kathisma. And what these are medium-length hymns that are sung after a kathisma of the Psalter is read. As you may or may not know, at Matins and Vespers, doesn't matter the day of the week, a kathisma or two are prescribed to be read at the service. So at Vespers, it's a singular kathisma, and then at Matins, you have 2 kathisma. And so after each one of those kathisma, you have these hymns, right? And so they're usually supplicatory in nature and kind of follow the theme of Psalms roughly, because again, between regular time and say Great Lent, that prescription changes a little bit. We're just going through basic, like regular time, like right now, August, September. So then you have what's called a Octoechos. It's a troparion specific to matins. And again, these are all, you've got 7 in each tone. So what's 8 times 7? Like that's that's how many hymns you have each week. And then you have some antiphons, which now that's a Sunday thing too. There's 3 antiphons in the Matin service on a Sunday, not like the antiphons we have in the Divine Liturgy where they're long and drawn out, but they are 3 antiphons with prayers. So drawn from the Psalms and Scripture. And after that we have the Sunday Perkamenon. So we have a Perkamenon on Sunday morning matins because, we have all this resurrectional stuff going on, whereas during the week, slightly different. And then you have another particular Kontakion, and then Stikira for lauds. The lauds is essentially the last 3 Psalms, Psalm 148, 149, and 150. And the verses, the Stikira verses, much like the night before, will go between the verses of Psalm 150. So this is what it looks like broken down in the simplest form. So for each of these things, there are 7. And then you multiply that by 8. Like, that's how much stuff is in just the Octoechos. And that is, like, outside of the Menaion, that's like one of our that's like the big book of like, okay, we need to do a service. Here's our, our set bits, and this is all the variables. And it's a lot. And now, why is it important that we're talking about this now in the context of publications? Well, some jurisdictions just kind of have not come up with a standard English translation. Okay, in the Greek Church, you cannot go to Holy Cross Seminary in Massachusetts and be like, I need a copy of the Octoechos. They're going to hand you something in Greek. There's no English. Everything's on their app, and it is of my opinion that iPads and phones and stuff, tablets, just do not belong up there. That's just me. Like, all sorts of weird things come through the internet. That's why a lot of people don't bring their phone into church. You look at the OCA, they're still referring to Old Slavonic, or maybe even in other jurisdictions, because again, you can't go to St. Tikhon's or St. Vlad's or anywhere and be like, I need a copy of the Octoechos. Chances are they're going to hand you the one from Boston, the HTM, which that's well over $100. And nothing against HTM. I'm not sure that they've updated the text of theirs for quite some time, but it's a thing. Now you have the Old Believer one, the green one, which is great if that's your jurisdiction. Honestly, I still need to get one for the collection. I've not looked into it. And I know Rocor has their Octoechos in some spiral bound copies because it's pretty thorough. And so now we have this new one from Damascene Press coming out, which aims to improve on what we have already. In the last video, we talked about the fundraising Psalter for Prayer that they're using to kind of try to raise up enough money to get this thing printed. Reason being is the physical copy, you're going to have a personal edition for you, me, and John Q. Public to use at home or wherever, or for people that just can't afford the big one. But then you're going to have the big one, which is, like I said last time, is about, this will be the dimensions, right? And it'll be like an 18-point typeface, which is like big. Reason being is this version will be meant to just, you'll have one copy in the church, in the choir, or wherever it is, and if I'm standing here and you're standing over by that trash can, we can both see the words, and that will be great, because it'll be a copyright-free text, so to speak, where it's just like, yes, you can buy this beautiful edition, but if you can't buy the beautiful edition, at least you will have access to a standard translation of the Octoechos, so all these variable points. And believe me, there's much more to it than what I have here. This is just the basic bones of it. Okay, so that's the Octoechos. It is a book with 8 tones, and in each tone there are 7 days worth of hymns that go through every service. And my goodness, it's big. We're talking, no matter what version you get, you're talking roughly 1,000 pages. Or maybe less if they're like really tiny printed. But the Octoechos is, first of all, whoever sets up your choir books, go thank them. And thank your priest, because their noses are in this stuff all the time. Like, people don't realize just how much goes into preparing a liturgical service in the church. Anyone that's tried to do a full liturgical service out of the Antilogian kind of has an idea. But yeah, so that's the Octoechos. Something just dripped out of a tree. Might be squirrel pee. I think it's time to go inside. Anyway, thanks for tuning in and listening to my spiel. Hopefully you understand a little better how much goes into preparing your services and just how many hymns the church has. And on behalf of Patches the murder cat, here she is. What you doing, baby? Huh? And myself. Thank you so much for tuning in. And don't forget to go to church, say your prayers, and remember God. God bless you all.